Hi, everybody. Today I am answering the question posed by a caregiver, why won't my family help me? And this is going to be specific to caregiving. The question to ask yourself on this topic is, who in your family is not helping? What is their life experience? And where do we go from there? I'm Pamela D Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. On there, a lot of helpful tips for caregivers and aging adults, online courses, my weekly podcast, articles, my blog, everything there. So why won't family help does not have a simple answer. It's actually more complicated than we think. Although in simple terms, we should think, well, if I need help, my family should step in and help me. If you're a caregiver, you want to realize that you live in a very different reality than your siblings who are not caregivers or who are not very involved in your parents' life or caring for a spouse or siblings or whoever it is that you are caring for. So that difference is like night and day. And I liken it to caregivers who tell me, well, I went to a counselor and they're a counselor. Why can't they help me? Well, it's because that counselor doesn't have specific experience in caregiving issues. So when we look for help or we look for advice or we look for support, it's important to look at the person that we're asking to receive that support from. Have they been in our shoes? Have they lived the day-to-day life that we are living? Have they had similar experiences? If not, your expectation of the support or the help that you're going to receive is not going to be met. So that's a very simple explanation. And then let's go into more details. So your family members who don't help, first of all, they live in a different reality. They don't have your experiences. They also may have their own other issues going on. They may have, they're raising children, they're having issues at work. Not that you're not, because many caregivers have all of these issues, but that's why your family can't be attentive. The other question to ask yourself is, have you asked them very specifically for help? And have they refused? So when I say very specifically, can you visit mom or dad every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m.? Can you call mom and dad on Wednesday at 5 o'clock? Can you do X, Y, or Z? Sometimes as caregivers, we imagine that other people automatically know what it is we need, and they don't unless we ask very specifically. Now, the other thing can be expectations. You may have expectations, very high expectations for yourself, and most caregivers do because you do a lot. But if you hold those same expectations for other people, you may be unrealistic about what other people can actually contribute or do. And so when you ask other people for help and you say, can you do X, Y, or Z, you also want to add the question saying, is this realistic for you? Am I asking too much? Can you really help me with this so that you could avoid being disappointed? Now, the thing in all of this, why won't family help and why is caregiving so challenging and why is it such a struggle? We as the caregiver also have to realize that we make our own daily reality. We make peace in our life. We make time for ourselves in our life. We decide to be happy. Until we make those conscious decisions to work on those things, we can't bring all of that into our life. And because caregivers are so busy, I hear so many caregivers say, oh, Pamela, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. Well, until you make time for that, you're never going to have it in your life. So let's talk about other aspects of why family won't help or why they tell you what to do when they have no idea what you're doing. People who criticize or sometimes offer unsolicited advice, if they don't take the time to get to know your situation very well, they could be giving you bad advice, which happens so many times. So it's the ability to have these back and forth conversations about what the situation is and what the problems are to see if somebody else can even empathize or understand to be able to help. If they're just criticizing, realize that that criticism is more about what's important to them. So if they come over and they say, oh gosh, mom doesn't look very good today. She's wearing old clothes. Realize that that criticism is not about you. It's about the fact that whoever is saying that believes that mom should be dressed a certain way, or they want to dress a certain way. Criticisms are usually more about the other people, not really about you. So it's not something that you should take on. The other thing to realize is that being a caregiver, it's important to be with people who will support you and who understand what you're doing, whether that is in an online support group or an online course, or even just the person that you're talking to. You don't want to place yourself in positions where people are going to say, oh, that's not possible, you can't do that, or why are you doing that, or you're crazy for doing that, or I can't help you, I understand why you want to do it. You want to be in a place where you find support. That support is on my website at PamelaDWilson.com. It's in my Facebook online caregiver support called The Caregiving Trap. It is in my book called The Caregiving Trap. It's in my online courses. It's in my weekly podcast shows, because I have been where all of you are today. I've done this for over 20 years, and I know how frustrating caregiving can be. I also know how wonderful it can be. I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Please share this video with other people you know who are looking for hope, help, and support. I'll see you all again soon in another video.